Salom to Uzbekistan, Howzit to Zimbabwe, and Senga to Ethiopia. The International Fund for Silliness continues to expand its reach. Thanks for being here. What's on the docket today? Why, it's a Norm Nathan show from January 21st, 1996, which shall be titled Nathanized. We begin our adventure with Norm teasing the weekend's upcoming guests and a shout-out to yours truly. Next, it's a WBZ StormCenter promo, and then on to our guest, author Marybeth Bond. Maybe not. Suddenly, we are listening to some classic radio chatter between Norm and Lovell Dyett. Now it's time for an actual guest. Greg Smith, author of Beer, A History of Suds and Civilization from Mesopotamia to Microbreweries. The interview hops around a bit, but does come to a head. And calls are on tap, but the taps are dry as no callers are featured. Next up was Scott J. Kerman, who wrote All Sold Out, How to Sneak into Sporting Events and Concerts. This was his second time on the show, and his next conquest was to sneak into the Super Bowl. Norm really loved talking to him, and he tells some great stories. Then we take some calls. Ann, Jill, Russ, Helen and Belmont, not Helene, Al, and a mystery caller. Special announcement. Let's cut away to the Paul Parent Gardening Show, talking cross-pollinating grasses and deep roots with caller Richard. Back to Norm now, talking to Diane about a guest we had on, the announced, yet not included, Marybeth Bond, and her book, Traveler's Tales, A Woman's World. It was a book Norm highly praised for its excellent writing. Let's now hear from Mac, talking about Super Bowl 30. Norm had some trivia, which you'll just have to wait to hear. But if you're a patron supporting the show, you already know the answer, as I use it for this week's episode preview. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The lovely Monica from Cleveland, Ohio was on the line. Norm recently proposed marriage in a letter he wrote, but had not mailed. She worked with Mickey and Gilly, a pair we've had on the show, on WERE in Cleveland. She was kind enough to ask about my then health condition, recovering from chickenpox a mere month before my 29th birthday. Ha! That was a whole lot of fun. Marilyn in West Virginia, and a story about a clunk. Norm gives us a heads up about a guest for the next show, Mr. Cheap. Well, looky here. It's Mark Wallstein, also known as Mr. Cheap, and his book, Mr. Cheap's Boston. He's in studio. They take calls from the 3 C's, Carol, Caroline, and Chip. Episode 271, Nathanized, tempers its way to your ears. Now.
Talking with Greg Smith, author of Beer, A History of Suds and Civilization from Mesopotamia to Microbreweries. Microbrewery seems to be a very big thing these days. More and more of them opening all over the place. And so he will take us on a tour through the history of beer making, its influence on our ancestors, and the many roles it played and is still playing in society. Because this is a very heavy, deep program, as you know. And then right after that, Scott Kerman will be on with us. Remember we had Scott Kerman, who's a stand-up comic, and has written a book on how to sneak into events, sporting events, concerts and stuff. Well, this weekend, Scott says he'll be sneaking into the Super Bowl. And he'll be calling to update us on his master plan, how to sneak into various kinds of things. And then let's see what else we got going for us. On Sunday, Harry Carey Jr., who has appeared in over 100 films, such as Mr. Roberts, Rio Grande, and Back to the Future 3. He's the author of a book called Company of Heroes, My Life as an Actor in the John Ford Stock Company. He'll give us details on what many of Hollywood's legends were really like. It's important that we know about that kind of stuff. So those are the things that Tony Nesbitt, the booker and big-time producer of this program, is lined up for this weekend. Looks like we a lot of fascinating people. Okay, a lot of the lines are open right now, so if you'd care to call, we'd love to talk with you at 617, which is, of course, the erotic area code to Boston. Let me say that again, as long as the kids are not up and listening. 617. 254-1030 is the rest of it.
Storm Center with complete storm-related information and combined sources of WBZ radio and television. You turn to the one place when the storm hits. WBZ News Radio 1030.
Okay, Marybeth Bond, it's nice to have you with us. Hi. One moment, please. The trouble is in your set. Marybeth, can you hear me? Hey, you know, this isn't a way to begin a program. May I sing you a medley of songs? I don't quite understand this. We just had her with us, no? You know what to do in a case like this? You throw on another commercial. Thanks. Experiences with you, would that be okay?
Oh, I'd love to talk to people, yes.
Bond, who edited a book called A Woman's World, Traveler's Tales. Traveler's Tales, a whole series of books written by a lot of people on different areas of the world. But A Woman's World is a collection of essays by women, just short stories about where they have been, and just absolutely fascinating, and just dozens and dozens of interesting stories. We'll take some calls now, okay, Marybeth?
Okay.
Okay, here's Chris. Thank you very much, and that was just so darn nice. It makes a fella feel proud. Thank you. Anyway, we'll be around through the night. That shouldn't come as any great news. But are you a beard?
It is great news.
It is great news?
Yes.
Yeah, I never thought of it.
It is great news to know that you're going to be around.
Son of a gun, I think that's really just so darn nice.
Yes.
You look especially dapper tonight. What is there about you, Lovell, that
I've lost 46 pounds.
have you? No, really? That's right. You do look a lot thinner.
That's true. I've lost 46 pounds.
Yeah.
I am. I've changed my personality completely.
Well, no, I would not want you to do that.
Well, my radio persona doesn't change, but my off-radio persona has changed. I'm much more quiet and reflective.
Yeah. Did you make a resolution? Like, was that it? Like, this year I'm going to be more reflective. I'm not going to be the wild, arm-waving loudmouth that I have been in the past, or is that the way you phrased it?
That's the way I phrased it.
I see. No, you've always been reflective, though.
Yes, I have. Always been reflective.
Oh, see. So what's the change?
I want to be like Norm, Nathan.
Well, I mean, come on, give me a break. Everybody does.
Well, cheapers. I mean, just think, when the whole country becomes Nathanized, it's going to be a wonderful place. You like my leather coat and my...
No, I like the way you dressed, but you lost 46 pounds.
I really did. That's the truth.
Just because there have been so many hockey games and stuff on and things, I haven't got a chance to see you so much. And while we were missing your presence, you were just sitting around losing weight.
Norman, you have always spelled me. You have always followed me.
No, I realized.
Don't you remember?
Yeah, that's right. I knew there was something familiar about us looking at each other with our eyes locked together
on
like
Saturday
this.
night, yeah.
Yeah.
We looked so... well, was it amorous or rapture? Was it amorousness or rapture?
I hope it wasn't amorous, please. No, but you look really good. That's really nice.
Yes.
And you were scouting up all kinds of stories tonight. It was kind of nice to hear you.
Yeah, it feels good to be on for 4 hours. The rhythm is better, and you understand that when you've been on radio as long as there has been one. And
I've been on since about 5 years before radio was invented. I was on.
You were.
Yeah, they anticipated.
You were on the air, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the air, at least.
I said that one night. I said, I've been on since about 10 years before radio was invented, and a woman called and thought, isn't that interesting? That must have some kind of a... She took it all seriously.
She did.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with your coming subject about beer.
Yeah.
But when Minnesota Fats died, did you mourn? Did you ever interview him?
No, I never did.
He's the greatest interview that one could possibly.
Really, because when I think of him, I think of Jackie Gleason, I guess, who played him in the movies. I never met the real Minnesota Fats. No.
Raconteur par excellence. He was almost as good as you know.
No, would you stop that? Just stop that. But it's kind of interesting that a guy made a tremendous career and a big name for himself playing pool or billiards.
That's right. Was it billiards? Okay.
Is there a difference between billiards and pool?
Yes, there is.
Can you explain to us?
I'll try. There are no pockets on the billiards table. And you play with 3 balls.
And pool is what? There are pockets, and
there are pockets, and you have to shoot the balls into the pockets. And there are all kinds of pool games. But the 8-ball is there are high balls and low balls. The high balls have stripes. The low balls are solid color. And the first one who gets all of his low balls or high balls off the table into pockets gets a chance to shoot at the 8-ball. And if he sinks the 8-ball, he wins the game. In billiards, you have to every time you take a shot of the 3 balls, one of the other 2 balls have to be touched by the ball that you shoot. You get it?
Yes.
And the cue ball that you shoot, or the ball that you use as the target ball, has to at least hit a cushion. That's where you play billiards.
You know all that stuff, don't you? That's amazing.
I used to be, way back when, I used to be pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's when you were 46 pounds heavier?
When I was 46 pounds heavier and about 20 years younger.
I see.
Listen, let me tell you hello and goodbye, since you have to suds us.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked me, because you're probably asking, who do you have as your guest?
Who do you have as your guest,
And he's waiting on the line right this minute saying, will those guys never shut up, or what? His name is Greg Smith, and he's written a book called... Are you just going to sneak out of here quietly without Sam talking to you right now?
All right, I'm sorry.
Okay. He's the author of a book called Beer, A History of Suds and Civilization from Mesopotamia to Microbreweries. They're just springing up all over the... How did they know what they were brewing? Did they just stumble upon it? Because that's probably the way most things are invented anyway. We just stumble upon them and, wow, hey, this tastes good. I think I'll call it beer. How did that come about?
Well, you're exactly right. And as far as we can figure, by studying ancient remains of clay amphoras, the ancient vessels for holding liquids, and doing analysis on them, we can see all the ingredients of beer in the linings of those vessels. And what they figure happened was a little bit before that time even, by accident, people were gathering grains. Our ancestors were hunter-gatherers, and storing them, and somehow it got wet. And as they, instead of throwing it away, because it took a lot of effort to gather this stuff, they spread it out and dried it. And when they tasted it, it was sweet. They figure sometime after that, after first inventing malted barley, which is what that was, it got wet again, and this time airborne yeast, which is everywhere, got into it and started fermenting. And when they tasted this very unappetizing-looking goop, life suddenly got a little bit easier. Their prehistoric stress went away, and they decided it was a pretty good thing.
And they shouted, whoopee!
Yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. I always admire people who are the first to take a sip or bite into something that nobody's ever tried before. I mean, there must be a hero medal for whoever the one was the first tried it, you know. Would you have dared to be the first, and you looked at this stuff, and nobody's ever tried it? They don't really quite know what it is. Later on, everybody wanted to try it, obviously, if it got to be, made them feel all that much better. But would you have been the first to try it?
Actually, for Northern Virginia, and they, of course, went a little far north, lost their way a little bit, and were looking for a place to make land. And William Bradford wrote in his diary, the reason that they stopped at Plymouth is for we could not take time for further search, our victuals being much spent, especially beer. No one trusted water back then, so beer was very important. And in fact, when they came ashore, one of the first buildings they built in Plymouth was a brew house.
Well, that's interesting, because by that point, breweries had been around for some time, because we're talking about Mesopotamia and way, way back then when they were discovering beer. So they figured that water was not all that safe, that it might not be that pure.
Right, exactly. But when they drank beer, no one got ill. And I guess early on there, they just didn't make the connection of boiling the water to make beer with killing the microbes and bacteria. But they knew beer was safe to drink.
What is it? What is a micro brewery place now? I'm a grown person. I've been around and I've seen things and I've seen life and all that. I've never been to a microbrewery, and I really plan to be at one. What is the popularity of it, and what are they like?
Well, they come in all shapes and sizes, of course. There's about 600 of them around the country now. Very fast-growing.
I'm sorry, there are how many?
About 600.
Yeah. Okay. Sounded like you were ordering something out of an old English novel, that kind of stuff. What is there a great deal of difference between beer and ale and different kinds of beer? I always thought the formulas were similar. How do you make them so different?
Well, you're correct. The formulas are very similar. There are two major categories of beer. One is lager, and the other is ale. Lagers we refer to as beers generally. And it's the type of yeast that makes those different and divides them into those two categories. The lagers in general will have a crisper, cleaner taste to them, whereas the ales will be a little bit fruity in the taste, a lot more going on in the beer, much more complex beer. Ale is the old ancestral father of all beers, if you will, and very popular in England and Belgium and so forth, whereas lagers are popular in Germany. So those are the two major classes. There are actually about 70 substyles of beer.
Now, 70 substyles.
Right.
Are there more of those now than there have been in the past? Are we experimenting more with different kinds of beer? I'm thinking of, for example, here in this area, we have Samuel Adams beer, which is relatively new and started by a company that was relatively small. Are there more of these smaller companies getting into the beer making business?
More all the time, and that is a fine example of the beer, the Sam Adams folks in Boston Brewing, and you have a lot of other great brew pubs around town there as well. As I said, they've gotten very popular, and people have embraced this. But it's not a new style per se, although there are people doing variations. But in fact, it's a return to old styles that we used to have in this country.
Yeah, I remember reading Silas Marner. You remember the British novel, and about a small British town, and people coming off the farms or wherever at night would sit. This is their major entertainment. I always envied this. I thought, what a great thing. Maybe it predated Cheers and places like that, but they'd come into the tavern and they all sit around hoisting their steins and drinking beer and singing and mostly just talking and things. Had there been no beer ever invented, there probably would be no taverns. I'm just reaching out, for really weird things that I'm saying, but it's hard to imagine any kind of an industry. Or it's hard to imagine any industry being built without, say, beer as the basis of all of that.
Mm-hmm. It was a very important part of our culture in this country. So was cider. So if we had never invented beer, perhaps cider would have been the popular beverage, and it was very popular in colonial times in New England.
Was that hard cider?
Hard cider, yes, indeed.
Okay, so we're still talking alcoholic stuff.
Right. And a tavern was the focus of any community back in the colonial days. If you wanted to get the news, you went to the tavern. You wanted to see your neighbors and socialize, it was the tavern. They even held court in the tavern. Military training of the militia occurred at the tavern because they knew they could get everybody to show up there. So the tavern was a very important part of our early life in America.
How did beer then I guess what I'm asking you is if you can sum up the history of beer and how it reflected upon our lives through the years. Well, there's a pompous question, isn't it? I can't believe I just asked you that. But it did have quite an effect on civilization through the years. Could you sum that up for us, or am I just asking you something really dumb?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, a lot of people would go so far as to say beer was the basis of civilization. It's always been there with us. Almost every important event in our country's history, and indeed the world's history, has been in some way or shape tied to beer. For instance, to show how important it was to civilization, when they found out how to make beer, even though it was by accident, one theory is that it's what helped make people settle down in one place, because now they had to cultivate the barley, plant the barley, and then, of course, they had to know when to plant it, so they invented a calendar to know when spring came. And, all this great stuff, mathematics even for tallying the number of kegs you made, and an accounting system. All that sprang from the tap of beer.
Well, that's fascinating stuff. Let's just take a break.
Brewers, of course. Our names we're all familiar with, and they'd be the folks like Anheuser-Busch, then Miller, Coors, and on down the line. So over the last 20 years or so, they've remained pretty much the same. And in fact, part of that weeding out of the breweries that we talked about before was because those national brands became so powerful, and they were able to capture a very large part of the market. Let's see, number 4 would be Stroh's, then the G. Heilman and Pabst folks, followed by Genesee, Latrobe, Evansville, and then Yuengling in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Those are the top 10.
Great. Okay, a lot of people want to talk to you. Forgive me, but let's just take another break. A British naval officer who's visiting America, Captain Frederick Marryat, who had some interesting things to say, says Americans can fix nothing without a drink. If you meet, you drink. If you part, you drink. If you make acquaintance, you drink. If you close a bargain, you drink. And it goes on like that. Americans drink because it's hot. They drink because it's cold, and all that. And as for water, the general opinion is very good for navigation, but kind of sums up our attitude toward this kind of thing. The whole book is full of some interesting comments like that, which I think you'd find intriguing. In sports, I don't mean broke in as a player, but broke into the game and the concerts and stuff without paying. Anyway, he's going to be on with us in a few minutes, and he's going to try to do the same thing at the Super Bowl. This is costumes, personal brashness, and a keen awareness of human psychology to cajole, or coast past stadium personnel. One of the things I remember he mentioned here was the best way to get into places is to look like you belong. You know, don't have any look of doubt on your face as you're going in. You know, like, hey, hi there, I'm selling peanuts here, or whatever the situation is. And you just walk in like you expect to go in. And he says very few people will stop you. They'll say, hey, he looks like he belongs. So you just go in. I've come closer. I don't want everybody to hear this. I've tried that on other occasions when I wanted to interview somebody coming in on a plane, say at Logan Airport, and I wanted to get not just in the waiting room, but get out toward the runways. You know, catch them right as they stepped off the plane, and you just walk in and act like you belong. Scott has done this with dates, though. That's a little shaky, because you got to get the date to look like she is part of the deal, too. Okay, like she really belongs. Anyway, I hope Scott calls, and if he does, obviously we'll talk with him. If he doesn't call, then we won't talk with him. Meantime, I'd love to talk with you.
Security. Who's the head of security?
Yeah.
So I went up to a security guard, and I said that, this head guy, I got his nickname. I'm his cousin. I said, and he said, you'll take care of me tomorrow. So the guy says, yeah, you come back here, and he's a good friend of mine. I'll take care of you.
Is that right?
I'm all set already.
No, tell me, can you repeat the conversation the way it happened?
All right.
Okay.
The guy's name is Jaffe.
Yeah.
So I said...
and he's the head security guy?
Yeah. No, yeah, he's the head guy. So where's Jaffe? I went up to the guy, and remember, these guys are just big bullies and bad windbreakers. We're not talking about mental giants here, Norm.
Okay, so you...
I go, where's Jaffe tonight? He says, I don't know. He's running around in the golf cart. He's 110 place. I said, I'm his cousin Justin from out of town. He says, oh, yeah. And then, of course, this is the guy. This is the big boss. So he wants to get in with the big boss. He says, "Can you put in a good word for me for to Jaffe?" "Oh, sure I can." "So you'll take care of me tomorrow?" "Oh yeah, you come over here, and you and your girlfriend, you guys will be all set." So I'm all set already. But of course, I think I'm going to sneak in again.
Yeah, because does that take the challenge out of it when it's that easy?
Well, I mean, you got to have, you got to be real smooth, I did my work already.
So you have a date with you.
Yeah, I have my girlfriend with me.
Okay. So she's used to this, though, because she's...
Hey, you know the old joke, Norm?
Yeah?
"Hey, honey, I bought dinner, so here, put these nose and glasses on."
Yeah. So she's used to you sneaking into places, and she sneaked in with you.
Oh, yeah, so she hates it sometimes.
Does she really? Because I would think she's kind of gotten to be sort of a veteran at all of this.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to do it anymore. She only came with me because she cares for me.
Oh,
she didn't even want to come.
Oh, but she cares for you. That's so nice.
But now she's happy because she's going to see the Super Bowl.
Does she ever say to you, "Scott, why don't you ever pay something?"
That's right. She says, "Scott, the book's going to go so great. Why don't you buy a ticket?" I said, well, first of all, Norm, we were walking around the stadium.
Yeah.
Tickets are being scalped for $4,000 a seat.
No kidding.
4,000. Guy was at one of the gates right now, outside the gate, talking to someone about $8,000 for 2 seats for the 50-yard line. That's crazy.
It is kind of crazy, yeah.
That's crazy. And first of all, the guy who had the 2 tickets, he looked like he could mug the guy anyway for the $8,000. Why give him the ticket?
No.
If he knew the guy had $8,000 in his pocket, he looked like he was going to hit him over the head anyway.
How many people do they expect at the game?
Well, I think the stadium. I don't know. I think the stadium holds about 80,000.
Isn't it something?
But there's just millions of people right now just hanging around the streets outside the stadium. They have this rip-off thing called the NFL Experience.
What
They're
is
charging like 20 people to see the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders jump up and down for 10 minutes. I mean, for that they should be able to have a raffle to take one of them home.
Did you sneak into the airplane flight out there? You had to pay for something.
No, I drove out here.
Oh, I see.
And I actually paid for the gas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
That seems like you sold out on that one.
I know.
And you probably paid for the hotel room. You can't sneak into that.
No,
Seriously.
I'm not Thelma and Louise. I'm a good guy, as you know.
No, you're a very good guy.
I just wrote a fun book, and the book's been going great. And
and again, the book is called All Sold Out: How to Sneak into Sporting Events and Concerts.
Now, can I mention my 1-800 number?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's in the USA article, but mention it.
Can you believe that they put that in there?
I know it. They mentioned 1-800-507-BOOK, and they give the price, $8.95.
They never do that.
I know it. I don't know any publication that does that, and this is a great national publication. That ought to boost sales.
Oh, yeah. Kidding me? The phone, they said the phone's been off the hook since the article came out.
No kidding.
Oh, they've already got 2,000 orders.
You know something? You're okay, Scott. I want to be like you one day.
Well, Norm, I want to be like you someday.
Oh, I don't know. Jeez, everybody does,
Ever since I did BZ, everyone's asked me. They said you and Norm were great together.
I thought it was fun. I enjoyed talking with you very, very much.
But I couldn't stop laughing because the hour after my hour,
yeah,
all they wanted to do was tell you stories about how people snuck in.
No, I know it. It really sparked up because that's the ultimate dream of people. I think is to get into something without paying for it.
And people remember sneaking in, Norm, more than they ever remember the event.
That's
they
true.
Went to.
That's true, because when I was a kid, people would come into the movie theater by coming in through the side door. We talked about this, because when you open the door, one of the doors in a movie theater, during the daytime,
right,
the sun comes in, and it's obvious that some doors open that shouldn't be opened.
That's right.
So I guess maybe you have to do that at night then.
But yeah, this stadium. But it's so funny because the Super Bowl is obviously our biggest event, and here the NFL security was looking for me all day, and they have my picture.
Oh, really?
Taped to the wall.
Is that as a result of the article?
Yeah, the USA Today article. Yeah.
And so I mean they clipped out that article,
and they taped it to all the walls of the like the trailers that the security hangs out.
Yeah. And like, this is the wanted guy. Be careful.
I know.
Of him. He's going to sneak in.
Because they don't want to look bad.
Okay.
But of course, I didn't shave, right? So I have this beard. I haven't shaved for the last week, so I kind of look like Grizzly Adams.
Oh, okay. So you don't match the picture that's in USA Today.
And I wore a baseball hat, so, my girlfriend doesn't even know who I am.
Before I let you go, tell us about some of the wilder experiences that you've had sneaking into events, concerts and sporting events and all that.
My favorite one was, when I snuck into REM.
Yes.
I snuck into this, band called REM and for hard copy. And I was wearing these special glasses. These glasses the $20,000 glasses that tape whatever you look at.
Yeah.
So, whatever I was looking at was being taped. So I get backstage before the concert. And I'm with the band before the concert, which is outrageous. But, of course, these guys in bad windbreakers come up to me, and of course, they're ready to kick me out. Okay, you with me, Norm?
I'm with you. Oh, yeah.
All right, so now you have to remember this. I was at Anaheim. This is owned by Disney World. So all of a sudden, 9 of those guys escort me out because, I didn't have a pass, and here I am backstage with the band.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping and praying that they would start beating the heck out of me. Because I would have taped it all, and I could have owned, like, the Disney line, like the ride, like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. They'd be like, hey, come over here, $5. You want to ride it? $5. So I was like, I'm just thinking, beat me up. Please. No, kick me harder. No, I don't think you've broken my nose yet. But it didn't happen. So that's always my favorite story of, getting backstage before the concert.
Do you lay out a whole group of events very far in advance that you want to crash?
Oh, yeah. Well, my future events for the year, the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. Now, that starts in, what's it, June or July?
July, I think, right?
July and August. What am I saying? July and
So that's in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. August was my
I'm going to England to crash Wimbledon this year.
Wow. Okay, so you got all these events already laid out, so you know where you're going to be pretty much the whole year.
Yeah, well, it's all to promote the book, obviously. Mother cares about Norm.
I know it. That's right.
I was in the USA Today yesterday, right?
Yeah.
She could care less. I'm in the Lawrence Eagle Tribune today. She's never been so excited. I mean, the USA Today has 3 million in circulation. Lawrence Eagle Tribune has like 30,000.
That's right.
She could care less about the USA Today. No one she knows reads that. Everybody she knows reads a lot. And right, remember, Tip O'Neill said it right. Everything is local.
That's right. Hey, Scott, it's always a great pleasure to talk with you. Can we do this often?
Often, Norm. I'll call you once a week.
Oh, that would be lovely. I'd love to know what you're up
you're
to.
my favorite.
Hey, you're my favorite, too.
I love Norm Nathan. I'm going out on a limb.
Okay.
On my honeymoon back in 1950, I was all dressed up with my husband. I was wearing a beautiful brown velvet dress, and I looked like the cat's meow.
The cat's meow. Oh, I haven't heard that one in a while.
We ended up in New York because we were in the Poconos and there were a bunch of old people there, like me now. And they had chit-chat hours, and my husband said, oh, let's leave here. We'll take the chat with us and leave the chit behind. And so we did. We ended up in New York, and I wanted to see the show Break the Bank. And my husband said, hey, look at that line. And there was a line going all the way around the block. It must have been a block and a half long. And I said, I know how we'll get in. At that time, I worked for a newspaper in Washington, D.C. And everybody, including the janitor, has one of these cards that said that they worked for the Times-Herald, Washington, D.C. And I pulled out my card, went up to the ticket taker, who was a very young man. Thank goodness. If he were more mature, he would have known better. But I said, you have our reservations? And he said, what reservations? And I said, you don't have our tickets? And I gave him our name, and I said, we're newlyweds, and we were really planning on seeing this particular show because Bert Parks was doing it at that time.
Yeah.
And he said, well, just a minute. He got scared because he thought I was really a big shot from the newspaper. So he called upstairs, and he said, look, he says, you can go around the back way and take the elevator up. And we did. We went around the back way. My husband was scared skinny. And we got into the show.
Yeah.
And we got on the show because my husband was in the service and because it was our honeymoon. And we met Bert Parks. And it was it was the first time that my in-laws had seen me because they were in Boston and we were in... we had met and married in Washington, D.C. So it was quite exciting.
It's kind of interesting now.
But I did get in.
Yeah, now, do you think women, outside of Scott Kerman, who's the professional gate crasher, do you think generally women have more chutzpah about doing that kind of thing than men do? Do you think men tend to be shy?
My husband isn't the kind that... He was a nice, mellow guy like you. He wasn't the kind that would do something like that. I was the one that was a little bit on the daring side.
Yeah, see, my wife would have done exactly what you did. And I would have done what your husband did. I would have said, oh, I don't want to. Let's buy a ticket. Let's go. No, I'm ready, honey. I can't go through with this. And she would have pushed her way through and with some kind of a cockamamie story. And I would have sheepishly followed, which is obviously the way your husband played it.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's true of, couples in general. Is it the woman who has the most nerve about those things?
I think it depends on the couple, but I know that I'm that kind of a person. And
I want you so bad now that I know that, Ann. Pay for 1 month, and
Grandpa.
No, but I'm really good about paying bills. Okay, I won't go through that whole thing, but I went through a poor period about 40 years ago. And I vowed if I ever got through this, I'd pay my bills right on time. And I've always done that. Mm-hmm. And I think somewhere in the storms and stuff, somehow the bill got misplaced or landed in the snow or whatever.
Oh.
I don't know. And I can't imagine a cable company canceling you because you missed one payment.
Yeah, that seems odd.
When my record is absolutely marvelous the rest of the time. Anyway, I haven't called them back to say the payment is on the way, hook me up again, because you get letters saying, there's extra charge for this, and they and on the bill is also a notice that says something about they are not responsible for payments unless they get them. Like if it's lost in the mail, they don't take any responsibility for that. And their bill to me was lost in the mail. But aside from that, anyway, so I really don't have much television. Because once you're hooked up to cable, it takes a little while to hook yourself up to over the airway kind of TV. Mm-hmm. So I've been reading more, and I find that that's kind of fun. And I really don't miss television all that much. I really don't.
What have you been reading?
Well, let's see. For Christmas, one of my daughters gave me a couple of baseball books. I know that's not highly intellectual. But it's kind of fun. I love American history, and I've been reading.
Me too.
You too?
Oh, I love history.
Okay. So I've been getting caught up on that.
Uh-huh.
And caught up on newspapers and magazines and stuff, and that I never seemed to have time for before because I'd be watching television.
Yeah, I find that I feel awful, but like a newspaper, I can't sit down and read a newspaper, but I can sit down and read a book and spend 5 hours in bed reading a book and just finish it off, but I don't have the patience to read a paper. I mean, what is
okay, well, that's okay. That's all right. You find the books are more interesting.
Yeah.
I also have one of my daughters gave me Charles Kuralt's America, which I'm anxious to get it because I'm a big fan of his. I think he's absolutely superb.
My dad, just by chance, met him on a plane. He was thrilled to death.
Oh, really?
Yeah, up in Maine.
Yeah, I got to have him on this program one day because I'm a big fan. I would love to talk with him.
He has a great voice.
He has a great voice, and he writes absolutely magnificently. I mean, not just this book, which I haven't even gotten to yet, But the copy that he's written for his network appearances on his travels around America are superbly written.
Yeah.
He's absolutely a number one. He's special.
Is that the book with his latest book with the Portland headlight in the background on the cover?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes, and a big picture of him sitting there in front of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
Yeah. Jill.
Yeah.
You're okay. Keep reading.
So I lost in Topsfield and Boxford, and I am out of business.
Oh, see, Topsfield, it's kind of interesting because you see, you're from Peabody. Now, Peabody I kind of equate with Middleton. We're working class people, although Middleton now has got all these a lot of expensive homes and everything. You know, we've kind of changed a bit, but the people from Boxford, I don't think would ever vote for anybody from Peabody.
No,
because they're snotty people. I was quoted in the paper as saying that the other day, and I'm starting to get nasty notes on that. So I'll never be able to run for anything in Boxford either. I'm in the same boat you are, Russ.
Well, and I don't think you could ever buy a home in Boxford. I'm not sure.
Who would want?
Wealthy.
Well, who would want to? You know, I mean, it's not even a real town. It isn't. It's a whole bunch of tennis courts or swimming pools.
Well, there's West Boxford. And,
West Boxford's a little different. That's a little homier. And I do have friends who live there, but the town is it's nobody would want to live there who cared about anything. It's so ultra conservative. It's nothing. I'm sorry. I'm going on again.
I hope I don't get any calls from people from Boxford.
Don't call Russ. Call me. Okay, that's right. Because they might have to pay a toll to call Peabody or something. I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I was listening to. I listen to you every night.
Oh, thank you.
As I told you, I'm a Norm Nathan addict.
I get to Frankie Max at Beachmont, at Revere.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to go, I mean, that was one of, you talk about being addicted. We would go there all the time catching Freddie Ross, and he'd do all these jokes. And my mother-in-law said, if you marry my daughter, I'll dig my way out of the grave and get at you. So we buried her face down. The hell with her. Let her dig. That was kind of typical Freddie Ross, the kind of humor.
Do you remember Freddie doing the pinball machine act?
Yes, I do. I just vaguely, because that's a long time ago. But I do remember.
Well, it was.
He did a GI thing. I guess everybody during that period did a military skit, also kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I sort of mix up that one with the pinball. But,
well, the pinball one, it finally got to him. It was so demanding that he couldn't do it anymore.
Oh yeah, is he still alive? Do you know?
No, he died probably 5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
he moved up to New Hampshire.
Yes, I did a show. I forget the name of the group, Spotlighters, or some club. They were saluting Norm Crosby, and I don't know why, but they asked me to do a routine also. So I was pretty awful. I just whipped together something. Anyway. The thrill for me was not only being on the same stage with Crosby, but also Freddie Ross was there, and this is the first time I'd ever met him outside of Frankie Max. Although I'd never met him then, I used to, with some friends of mine, a bunch of guys, we'd go catch him. Let's go to Frankie Max and catch Freddie Ross, and he was our hero. And here I am performing alongside him. That was a great thrill.
And Norm, I was there.
Oh, were you there? Crosby kept making fun of me the whole night. He said something I was kidding about how unprepared I was to do anything, but he did it in such a good-natured way that I just felt badly. Like, why didn't I really work on this more? I was just so in awe of the people, the performers that were there. It's kind of funny. And did you perform that night?
Oh no, I was in the audience.
Oh, because there was where was that anyway? It was a big audience. I don't remember. Maybe it was like one of the hotels, I think, one of the ballrooms of the hotels or something.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting down, and then Crosby every now and then would throw a dig in, like, and this Norm Nathan, boy, he really worked on his material, didn't he? You know, and it was, and I really felt self-conscious about it. To this day, I've never stopped regretting the fact that I should have sat down. I really should have done something. I never went into anything so unprepared as I was that day. I thought, a couple of jokes and that'd be enough.
Well, I thought you were great.
Oh my God, Russ, you're making me feel better about that whole night.
even though you were a kid then.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't such a kid. That wasn't that long ago. I think it was within the past 20 years. It was back in the 70s, I guess.
Yeah.
I wasn't a kid even in the 70s.
Well,
You're nice to say that.
You're still a kid when it comes to me.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad to be the kid to somebody, and especially you, Russ, and I thank you. Hey, I got to move along, but I thank you very much for the call.
Let me ask you something, though.
Sure.
Is it too late to get on the dumb birthday game?
Let me turn you over to Ed LeClaire, and he's the one who fills in the all the group there.
Oh, okay.
So hold on, he's going to take the call now. Thank you. I got to get to Helene before the news. Hi, Helene.
Helen from Belmont.
What's that?
Helen from Belmont.
Oh, this is a different one. I'm sorry. It's Helen in Belmont.
Right.
My other friend is Helene in Belmont. So
really?
I thought you might be she.
Well,
I'm glad you're you. So thank you very much for calling.
I've talked to you before.
Yes, I recognize your voice now.
I'm enjoying your show a lot tonight. I drifted back in when that young lady was calling you Grandpa, and
oh yeah.
And it's just been great reminiscing about all the old times and the old places. That gentleman that talked to you right afterwards that had the old cars.
Yes.
He happened to mention The Last Hurrah. I wondered if you'd seen that show, The Last Hurrah, that's at the Black Rose.
No, I never have. Is it running now?
Yeah, it's running now. I'm going to see it tomorrow. It's about Curly.
Yes, well, I read the book.
I read the book, too.
Yeah, which was a great book. It was made into a movie, too, I remember. Wasn't it with Spencer Tracy?
Right.
Yeah.
I just wonder what it's going to be like. It's a musical.
Could you call back?
Yeah.
Sometime later after you've seen the show and let us fill us in with it and when it's being shown. I'd love to see it.
It's a dinner theater and then the show, and it's a musical. So I'd be glad to. I hope it'll be good. There aren't too many people around that will remember him, and I'd probably be one that would.
Well, the book itself was didn't mention. Of course, it didn't mention Curly, although it was clearly about him.
His name was Skeffington in the book.
That's right, Skeffington.
Yeah.
But it was clearly Curly they were talking about. But it was about the Curly kind of politician.
Right,
so whether you remember James Michael Curly or not, it doesn't really matter. I think it was still a fascinating book and a movie, and I hope it's a fascinating show.
Well,
at the Black Rose, you say?
You're right.
Okay. So call back after, would you, and let us know how.
And it didn't really hit me too righteous, because I like to listen to your program, and you do.
Oh, we were kidding. We were kidding about my native language of Chagra, and I said.
Well, I thought you were going down to Rhode Island getting them clams with the oil on it.
I know, it's not like I got over the edge. No, but we were kidding about the fact that I said that my native language was Chagra. There is such a language, but from that point I said it only has 4 vowels. Oh no, it has 3. It has no vowels and only 3 consonants. So it's a very difficult language to speak, and it's kind of ugly. And the sounds you were just doing was similar to the sounds that I did, poking fun at that whole thing and just kind of trying to say, how do you say, I like you, you're a good person in Chagra? And so it came out the way. And obviously the sound offended you, and I apologize for that.
Norman?
Yes, sir.
There's one thing I could ask you. There's a library in Norwood, Massachusetts, and Framingham, Massachusetts, looking for volunteer tutors.
Yes.
People that didn't get educated when they were younger.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, I'm a student, a past student, and a future student in the program, and I try to do everything I can for the literacy volunteers.
Okay, well, that's very kind of you.
So,
That's very good. So we suggest people check in with Norwood and Framingham if they'd like to help.
Yep.
Okay, good enough, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good night, too, and thank you for calling. Thank you very much for those kind words.
You're very welcome.
Have a good weekend.
Well, thank you, and you too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, that is an adorable person. On behalf of Ed LeClaire, on behalf of the lovely Elizabeth, on behalf of the good-looking Tony Nesbitt, the almost good-looking Norm Nathan person, why, that's me. And, of course, the lovely Marilyn Gorelnik. I hope it's a great day for you. We'll see you tonight. Bye-bye, Old Sport, from WBZ Boston.
Grown center shade. They are a cross between the tall fescues that grow in sand and gravel pits. It looks like a big clump of grass that's growing in pure gravel or sand.
Yeah.
And they've taken a fescue that traditionally grows in your lawn, cross-pollinated them, and they've picked up the best characteristics of both grasses. They have taken the texture from your lawn, and they have picked up the root system from the one that lives in the wild. So a tall fescue of today's grasses will produce a root system up to 3 feet deep, which means that it should dry out as quickly as ryegrasses or bluegrasses that only produce a root system about 6 to 10 inches deep. So that the tall fescues will withstand drought and sunny conditions a lot better than bluegrasses will, and they need a lot less water because the root system goes so deep.
Sure. Does it require a lot of soil preparation? I've seen people with rototillers out on their lawns, and you know, is it something everybody wants? You know, I'm like everybody else, lazy. You know, can you just take and broadcast this on top of the soil? Does it grow like not ragweed, but crabgrass? I mean, crabgrass will grow anywhere. I've got crabgrass in my lawn that if there was a weed show someplace, it would be blue ribbon stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah. What you need to do, and that would be with any seed, the seed has to be in contact with soil.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got plenty of soil showing.
Yeah. So as long as you took a steel rake and you scratched up the ground, so that when you drop the seed on the soil, it would be in direct contact with it, then there shouldn't be any problem. If you have a large area to do and you've got a lot of dead grass from last year and you won't know that until spring, you rent yourself a power thatcher. You run a thatcher back and forth over your lawn. You can do a half-acre lawn in about maybe 4 hours. And then you rake it all up. You have these little ridges that have been cut into the soil. Sprinkle your grass seed, a little fertilizer, a little bit of lime, and plenty of water, and that grass will come all by itself. But this Canadian grass, I don't know. To say they won't give you any information, and until I know what's in it, I don't want to recommend it to you. So look for something that I know will work. Richard, we thank you for the phone call.
It's a whole series of books. It's called Traveler's Tales, and they have there's a whole bunch of them. Now, Travelers, I'm just looking at the Traveler's Tales catalog. The one I have is the one that she wrote, but there are others like Traveler's Tales on Thailand, Mexico, India, France, Hong Kong. I guess Greece, and I was looking for places where for Egypt. I don't see that on there. Spain and Nepal, and I guess it's a project in the making anyway. Probably come out with more, but hers is Traveler's Tales, a woman's world, and that has to do with the essays of women who have written about essays about where they have been and the kind of travels they have been part of, and the writing I think is incredibly good. Just good writing is so much fun to read.
Oh, absolutely. And
you really get absorbed by these things. I don't want to start reading this. I don't know. How can I identify with some woman who's gone off alone to India And it is absolutely fascinating. I was sorry when the essay ended, and I can hardly wait to get into the next one. Now, how about that for a plug for the book? I don't mean to go overboard about that, but it's quite a delight.
Yeah, I'll definitely get the book.
Okay, hey Diane, thank you very much. I appreciate hearing from you.
Oh.
Son of a gun, Morgantown, of course.
Yes, indeed. I got a couple numbers I'd like to throw around for you.
Okay.
Getting ready for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know I'm going to root for the Steelers.
Yes.
And they're getting 12.5 points.
You're going to, okay.
We're getting 12.5, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
What's your opinion on that?
Oh, my opinion really means nothing. I'm so pitiful.
Oh, it means something to me now.
No, I just don't follow it closely enough for where my opinion really would mean much of anything.
Well, let me tell you who they're playing. Dallas Cowboys.
No, I knew that, but I know who's playing, but I wouldn't be able to, now, are you giving Pittsburgh 12.5 points?
I'm getting 12.5. Me and my friend bet on the game.
Oh, so you figure the Cowboys will beat the Steelers 12.5 points?
That's what he says, yeah. Well, I think I'm going to win some money this time.
You bet heavily on this?
Once in a while, a couple parlays, maybe a straight bet here and there,
Okay.
You ain't getting too involved with it, Gets a little expensive.
Most people I know, see, and I'm a kind of a novice, not a novice, I'm just not deeply enough into it for where my opinion really means anything, and I know yours does.
It does to me.
Okay, is this going to be one of the really great Super Bowls or just one of the usual drab ones?
Well, I'm going to give you some statistics here, some more numbers. Steelers have been in 4 Super Bowls, and they won them all. So this will be the 5th one.
Yeah, does that mean they're going to walk all over Dallas?
No,
obviously not, because you got Dallas winning.
I believe it'll be probably a field goal game, my man. And I say the Steelers will win it by a field goal.
Okay.
That's a pretty big prediction for me. So.
Okay, you want it? Would you dare name a score actually in addition to the?
I'd say here's one for you.
Yeah.
Here we go now.
I'm ready.
38-35.
Wow.
So I'll call you next Sunday night after the Super Bowl.
Okay, because they always build up the Super Bowl, and only on a rare occasion is the game ever as much fun as you expect it's going to be. So, but you expect it's going to be a real doozer.
Well, I've watched Dallas and Pittsburgh play in a couple Super Bowls, and they've all been pretty close.
Okay.
So I'm predicting the Steelers 38-35.
Oh, here's an interesting story about that. I was going to mention this on the air, and as long as you mention the game, this is, of course, Super Bowl 30. I know you well know that.
Oh, yeah.
The showdown, which is January 28th, it says here, will be the first Super Bowl to be broadcast in the Navajo language. This is a station in Window Rock, Arizona. Son of a gun, I've been there. Radio station KTNN. Manager Tazba McCullough estimates the audience will be 250,000 or more, and the sports director there says it's quite a challenge to broadcast sports in Navajo. But he says the language allows the announcers to describe the emotion of the game and is in keeping with the Navajo storytelling tradition. I suppose it would be fun to hear the game in Navajo. Maybe for about 2 minutes after that, we'd probably lose interest. But it's hard. Somewhat hard to imagine that.
I'd find it hard that an Indian could root for the Cowboy. What do you think?
You think he's the last team in the world he'd want to win would be the Cowboys?
That's what I'd say.
No, I think you're right.
I'll check in with you next Sunday, Norm.
Okay, Mac, thanks for the call.
I'll see you, bud.
Bye-bye. 254-1030. Let's go to Monica in Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, it's my friend Monica.
Hey.
I just wrote you a note.
You did?
Yeah, because I got your note.
Yeah.
And I proposed marriage.
Oh, you really?
And running away to an exotic land, maybe Tierra del Fuego.
Yeah.
And
how about Barcelona?
Barcelona?
Right.
Barcelona would be nice, huh?
Yeah.
Have you been to Spain at all?
Never been to Spain. Don't even have a passport.
I guess now is a little tough time to get one, although I guess maybe you can get them again.
Yeah.
Things seem to be moving a little bit better.
Well, that's funny because I was like, well, he said he was going to write me letters and everything, and I haven't gotten anything.
No, it's you see, no, it'll go out Monday, so you'll probably get it Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what the delivery is. I know you don't live in Cleveland.
Right.
Yeah.
Just outside of it.
Just outside of Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was a nice picture of you there, too.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I pinned it up on my wall, and I look at it each night, and I have fantasies.
Well, I realized that when I wrote the letter, I didn't put it through on the stationery, so that's why the letter kind of looks a little silly.
No,
because you have to space the words, to go around.
No, listen. The way I type, you'll get a letter that's spaced even worse than that.
But you know what? Hey, how's Tony's chicken pox?
Oh, Tony's chicken pox. That's Tony Nesbitt. Yeah, who has? This is a review for people who don't know that Tony Nesbitt is a producer here who I work with, who books a lot of the guests that we have on the program. That Tony, at the age of 28. I think he's 28, something like that. Anyways, came down with chicken pox, which is a painful disease at any age,
and
but particularly when you're older.
Even worse for adults?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
When you're older, it's even worse.
It could be deadly or something, is what I heard.
In some cases, it could be. However, it wasn't deadly. Mercifully, in Tony's case, and he's back at work. He was here the other day.
Well, that's good.
And he looks good. He looks really good.
Great.
And the pock marks seem to be at a minimum.
Well, I wrote David Letterman a letter, too, because I told him that Tony said that he had buns like Tony's David's cue card guy. So I said I'd be glad to be the judge of buns, so hopefully it'll get in the CBS mail pouch.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be. I hope he gets to see it and they take it seriously and read it and give you a response and stuff. I might mention also Monica is on. You still working with the other two guys, Manny and Gil?
Mitch and Gilly. Yeah, those guys.
Oh, yeah, Mickey and Gilly on WERE in Cleveland. And, well, the letter covers some other things, but you mentioned the fact that you were is it landscaping? You don't call it landscaping.
Boat-escaping.
Okay.
I do organic gardening.
Yeah, organic gardening. Yeah. I mentioned the fact, too, that I deal in... through the years of gardening also, I grow vegetables and I've never used any chemical fertilizers.
Well, that's good. This world can survive. If we're going to raise crops and things like that, we don't need...
We don't need that stuff. We don't need that.
Got enough of that floating around in the ozone.
Yeah, we don't. And we don't need to worry about whether we're washing off all the chemical junk that comes on our potatoes and everything else. For God's sakes.
Really?
That was acting.
It's another headache.
If you want to get into radio full time, I hope you'll pay close attention to me because I'm a leader in new ideas and thoughts and stuff, and in acting.
Right, and a pioneer as well.
A pioneer, yeah. When I'm talking to somebody as young as you, I kind of eliminate the word pioneer.
But it's kind of sad because sometimes you'll be onto a hot topic and then you fade in and out every I don't know. 15 minutes.
I know the fact that you're that close to Cleveland is surprising me that you could pick us up at all.
Yeah.
We get out to central Ohio a lot, Columbus and out there.
Toledo. Heck, that's pretty darn near Indiana.
Yeah, no, we get a lot of calls from that area. Again, Columbus and that part, but not so much up where you are, up around the Cleveland area. And also, a lot of calls from parts of Indiana and stuff. But I wish you well, and I hope to continue to hear from you, Monica. You're okay.
Well, look forward to seeing your letter this week.
Oh, and it's on recycled paper, I hope.
Great. And are you going to enclose a photo?
I did not do that. No, I already sent that out. No, I don't have a photo yet. We're supposed to take some pictures later this week at my house along with the animals. And I was kind of hoping that I could hide behind the horse and the two big dogs so you wouldn't see that much of me. But,
okay.
Okay,
well,
but
you take care. Have a great week. You're only on till 1?
Just till 1, yeah. Just Sunday night is a little short night.
Oh, okay. Well, you take care.
You too, Monica.
All right.
Yeah, bye-bye. Okay, let's go to from Monica in Cleveland, Ohio. We'll go back to West Virginia and Maryland in West Virginia. How you doing?
Good evening. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm just fine. Thank you. Also.
I think we're running out of time very quickly, aren't we?
Well, we got about 3 minutes or so.
Well, I wanted to tell you about a trip that I was taking one time where it's one of these things where you think later that somebody up there likes you and there's some reason why you're on this earth. Because we had gone over a 9,200-foot pass in the Bighorn Mountains, driving, and we were driving a big old Cadillac. It was in gorgeous shape, but it had been stored for several years, only had a few miles on it. But the person who had bought it was just so excited about the whole thing, and it was lovely to ride in. But we stopped to take some pictures just after we'd gone over this path. And the driver decided to back up a little bit, I guess, to get closer to the guardrails. And there was this clunk. And then we discovered we had no axle.
Oh, boy.
And we were able to drift down maybe a quarter of a mile, and there was a real wide place to pull off, and you could have put half a dozen cars there. And so the one man who was with us jumped out and got into a Volkswagen Bug, which you had mentioned a while ago, with the first person that came down the mountain and took off to find help. It was a beautiful day. It was in the mid-60s, and the three of us who were left had things to read, and we chatted and took pictures, and finally it was beginning to get a little dark, dusk looking, and a state policeman was heading back over the mountain, and he tried to ignore us, but we stopped him and did prevail on him to radio and find out where the wrecker was, or if there was one coming. They said, well, they were waiting till it came back in, and our person was there waiting for it. The wrecker came and picked up the rear end of the car, and we were riding in it, you know, sort of looking down at the road, going down off this mountain. And we found out that the nearest town was 20-some miles. They dropped us off at the motel, took the car on to the garage. Later we found out that the wrecker lost its brakes after it got back down there.
Oh, jeez. Aren't you lucky it held on to its brakes as long as it did then?
Right. So, you know, it's one of those things where you think, there's some reason why I'm here.
Yeah, somebody was smiling at you that way. Boy, that is really frightening. That is frightening for the wrecker, the guy driving the wrecker, too.
Yes. It's the kind of thing that makes your knees go weak when you...
I know, and you realize what could have happened.
Right.
Oh, hey, I'm so glad to hear your voice, Marilyn. I'm beginning to shake a little myself and sweat.
Well, it was one of those things that makes you know you have a purpose.
Okay. Hey, Marilyn, I wish you well, and I thank you for the call, and congratulations. I'm glad everything worked out okay.
Thank you. Nice.
Take care. Bye-bye. We have some fascinating people who we'll be talking with throughout that time, and most of all, it'll be fun talking with you, so hope you'll give me a call, but don't start dialing just yet. You can wait till Friday for me. The temperature, 27 degrees. The roads are a little snow, and we'll have a complete WBZ AccuWeather forecast coming up in just a little bit. One of the guys we're going to have as a guest on Friday, by the way, will be guy calls himself Mr. Cheap or Cheapy. He's got a book out on all kinds of special places to buy things inexpensively, as you could guess by the title.
Norm Nathan Show just makes me glow each weekend night. He's beyond compare and so debonair. He shines so bright. Here on BZ 103. Oh, please don't turn that dial. He makes me smile. Norm Nathan Show. Norm Nathan Show. Norm Nathan Show.
This is the exciting Norm Nathan Show, and I imagine it's a program you've been waiting for the entire week, and I don't blame you. I have too. Last time we talked, I think, was last Monday. Was about 1 a.m. and Monday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning. Time has weighed heavy. I've just been going from room to room at the house, knowing not what to do, waiting for this very, very moment when we could be back together again. Am I talking stupid already? Normally it takes to about 2 or 3 in the morning before I get to be really foolish.
Take around with you, stick it in the glove compartment of the car or in your back pocket or your briefcase or whatever.
Can you flash that at some stores you go into, even if they're not listed? They'll look at that, they'll say, this guy knows all about the cheap places. We better mark our prices down. Can you intimidate people just by showing that?
I have gotten, over the years, in doing all the footwork and all of the research that goes into this, I've gotten probably every conceivable response and reaction from, we love you, what a great idea, please put us in your book, to please get out, we don't want to hear about it.
Do you get rejections like that? People say, get out of here, man?
Very, very few, but I have found, people have an odd reaction, or there's a variety of reactions to the word cheap. There, any number of people who've told me, you write a book called Mr. Cheap's Boston? What a terrible title. I mean, that makes it sound like it's all plastic and things that break and it's all about junk. And then you can easily turn around to somebody else and say, yes, I write this book called Mr. Cheap's Boston. They say, what a great name. Where can I get a copy of it? So,
how did this, I was going to ask this obvious question about how this came about, because you list all kinds of businesses, and it would seem to me the research you have to do on this is absolutely incredible.
Well, I've worn out a lot of shoes, but of course I always know where to get more cheap, so. The way it all came about, actually, is from my own background as the, quote, starving artist, unquote. My background's in theater, and, actors don't exactly reach the top of the pay scale in this country.
I don't know. I'm an actor, but I'm trying to get a job as a waiter. That's one of the oldest, worst jokes in the world.
And I'm very pleased to say it just reached the Boston Globe bestseller list this week.
Isn't that nice?
So it seems to be doing quite well all over again. I'm very, very excited.
Excellent. Okay, so this is kind of part 2 of the book. Not part 2, that's not quite the way to phrase it. But
this is new, improved, it's bigger, it expands further out into the suburbs, it covers a whole lot of new stuff that the original book didn't have.
Okay, now do you list it according to suburbs too, as well as... I'm just saying that because as I glance through this, there's one section here that says Arlington, Belmont, that kind of stuff. But mostly it's divided up into kinds of places, kinds of restaurants, kinds of clothing stores, and all of that kind of
thing.
The
shopping section is organized alphabetically by what you want. Clothing, furniture, shoes, electronics. The restaurant section, I did divide it up geographically, because when you're hungry and you're looking for a good, cheap place to eat, you want something that's nearby. You want to say, okay, here I am in Arlington. What's good that's near me? And so in that case, I decided to break it up by area. And it does cover all of the areas of Boston and then out in the basically all the suburbs within 128.
Okay, now anybody has any questions they want to ask, because I'll ask you some first before we get to the phones, but Mark Wallstein, who is Mr. Cheap.
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Does this hurt your romancing by being known as Mr. Cheap? When you're going out with a woman, does she figure, what's the sense of going out with this guy? He's going to find the cheapest places around. Why bother with this crummy guy?
I am not cheap in that sense. What of course the name means is where to get good stuff cheap.
Yep.
I have a story that I tell about a friend of mine who had an argument with his wife. In order to make up with her, he bought her a bouquet of roses, long-stemmed red roses, which he got at some place for about $10. He gave her the roses. She said, oh, that's wonderful. They kissed and made up. And then he had to point out that he had gotten a deal on the roses. He went that extra step a little too far, and I'm not like that. So,
okay. Yeah, that's an awful thing to do. Anyway, let's see, 254-1030, by the way, is our phone number. Our area code is 617. I'm not quite sure what to ask you about because you cover so many things. Is there any specific area where you can get better deals than in other areas? The theater, for example, a certain days or someplace you can get cheap tickets.
Sure. Well, if you're talking about days of the week, for example, comedy clubs are always less expensive during the week than on the weekends. And jazz music is a great way to go if you can go during the week. The Regatta Bar, which is one of the very nicest jazz spots in the whole area in Harvard Square, is much less expensive during the week and often with the same musicians who are going to be playing on the weekend. But they charge separately for each of the 2 sets on the weekend, whereas if you go on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, you pay once and you can stay the whole evening. So that's
that's true of Scullers, too, which is also very close by here, which is another jazz club. The theater, though, can you pick up tickets, for example, the same day as the performance?
Yes.
Are tickets cheaper then?
Yes, there is a great way to save money on theater, and that's the Bostix ticket booths. There's been one at Faneuil Hall Marketplace for quite a number of years, and just last year they opened up a second booth in Copley Square. And this is where any shows that are playing in town that have a lot of unsold tickets for that evening's performance, they'll dump all those tickets into the folks at Bostix, and you can pick them up for half price plus $1 or $2 service charge. You take your chances, because if you're really got your heart set on seeing Les Mis, and Les Mis happens to have sold pretty well, you may not find them listed on the boards at the Bostix booth. But what fewer people know is that there's a great second program run by the same people who do the Bostix booth, have a program called Arts Mail. And for absolutely no charge, just write to them and say, please put me on your mailing list. You'll receive a catalog every month of events that are going to be coming into town. They're selling tickets way in advance. Very often they're selling preview tickets. Those are the seats before the show opens and the reviews come out, and the show needs to try and boost sales before all their publicity hits big. Also local companies, local theater companies, local dance companies, concerts, etc. It's not just theater. Who just want to sell a few extra tickets and are willing to do so at half price. So with Arts Mail, you get, in fact, I have a copy of it here, you get this wonderful catalog. It's about 30 pages. Look what's on the cover of this. This was from last year. It's Phantom of the Opera. And you can get Phantom of the Opera tickets. Let's see what the deal was. The average ticket price, it says here, is $36. Your price, $22.50. So you can basically get the same deal as you get at the Bostix booth, or similar, and you can get them in advance. You can get them by mail, and you have a selection of dates usually. So it's a much more flexible, not taking chances kind of an operation. All you have to do is write to them and get on their mailing list.
What about some other categories now? Let's say the area of clothing, for example. I want to pick up a swell pair of shoes.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that, but the first thing that came to mind.
It's good to have sensible shoes, Norm.
Sensible. Oh, yes. I want to be comfortable. Yes. Oh, God knows, yes. Oh, yes. But how do we go about finding a place that has good quality shoes cheaper? I mentioned this, you can lapse off into other areas of clothing as well, but these are areas I don't think not too many people know about.
There are a lot of discount shoe companies all around the Boston area, and I have a whole chapter that is just called Shoes and Sneakers. And you can go to a place like The Barn in Newton, which is a long-time sort of family outfitter kind of a store. They have great stuff for men and women and kids. And they sell at very, very low markups. So they just do so much business. They do such a high volume business that they are able to keep the markups very low. There are also places that discount designer shoes. And, sometimes you can even find those at Filene's Basement. And those are brand new, and they're maybe last year's styles. But, for you and me, for men, how much do the styles change? It's not the same as for women. And of course, with sneakers, Reebok has their own outlet store. New Balance has their own outlet store. There are all kinds of places to save big on the expensive tennis shoes and basketball shoes and things like that.
The outlet stores, do you really save? I'm thinking of mill outlets and all that kind of stuff. A number of them down, say, around the New Bedford area, Fall River, and that kind of stuff. You really do save there?
I get asked that question a lot, and the reason is, and the reason people are somewhat unsure about it is the answer is yes and no. It's not a straight yes or no. You have to shop carefully, even at the outlet stores. I do have a roundup of all of those places here at the beginning of my book, so that people who want to explore these things, they can find the address and the directions and how long it takes to drive from Boston to the Freeport outlets in Maine and the Cape Cod factory outlets and the Worcester Common Fashion outlets. If you go to these places, outlet shopping has become a huge phenomenon in the retail business. And I'm no MBA, but I've learned a little bit about retail. Everybody seems to want to shop at the outlets now, and so the outlets and the factories themselves, they've caught on to this. So you have this tremendous spread of outlet malls. There aren't that many irregulars out there. They couldn't possibly, and of course this is what Marshalls and TJ Maxx are doing as well in Filene's Basement. You know how many stores there are in those chains. There just aren't that many mistakes being made at the factories to fill that many stores. So what's happening is that you actually have manufacturers are starting to make items that are sort of a second tier, a lower tier of their same goods directly for the outlet stores. So that if you wanted to buy a Ralph Lauren shirt, let's say, or a sweater, you could go to the Ralph Lauren Polo outlet at the Worcester Common Fashion outlets, and you'd get a nice selection of clothing, but it may not be the exact same clothing that you would find at Bloomingdale's. It's not the same stuff. It is produced less expensively and therefore priced less expensively.
So we're not talking about mistakes, though.
Right.
They purposely make these for lower,
That's exactly
lower
right.
prices. Push
Yeah, it does. I don't know their entire history, but from what I understand, they started out as a wholesaler and furnishing books for schools and educational institutions. And they didn't mean to sell to the public necessarily, but the public started sneaking in. They have expanded tremendously, and there's nothing mobile about them anymore. In fact, they've just added a whole new section to the front of their building, and they've expanded their hours. They're going very consumer-friendly at this point, and they're definitely there to stay.
Okay, we'll take some questions from you, the listener, in just a minute.
What is it? Essex Street, I think it is. It's right behind the Masons building.
Oh, right in the combat zone area.
Well,
which is not the combat zone anymore.
It's not, and it's a perfectly good lot, and I think their whole day rate is only $5 or something like that.
Are there any deals on getting a tea pass, a monthly tea pass?
No, there again, you're at the mercy of the tea because they've got the monopoly on the things. They can charge what they want because no one else makes them. They don't have to discount them. Though the tea passes themselves are a good deal if you use them enough, because of course you're paying a monthly rate and then you get unlimited usage.
What about clothing or something like that? Can we help you with anything along those lines, Carol?
What do you want to shop for, Carol?
Yeah. You want a toy or games? Do you want a...
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact, a home personal computer.
Mm-hmm. There are some wonderful places to go to, a chain of places all around the suburbs called the Computer Outlets. They have one in Revere, Weymouth, Westwood, a lot of W's. What they are selling are factory refurbished computers. That is, a computer by one of the big makers, Dell, IBM perhaps, a lot of the famous names, that may have had some kind of a defect or was returned for some reason. It was sent back to the factory, fixed, and now, because it has been fixed, they cannot resell it as new. They can't give it to Lechmere. They can't give it to CompUSA. And so there are all these places that are around. Usually they're in out-of-the-way locations, like in office parks and things, that are selling the refurbished, still warranted, still new, and whatever defects they had were fixed. Computers for hundreds of dollars less. I've seen laptop computers there for $700 and $800 that would ordinarily be going for $1,500. Also, by the way, there's a place called the Laptop Superstore, which is a local chain, and they have a branch in Harvard Square in Cambridge that's doubles as their clearance center. they do kind of the same thing there.
And I know you have hotels, motels, all kinds of stuff in the book. Hey, thank you very much for calling, Carol.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye. Incidentally, the book is pretty cheap itself. It's only, what, $9.95?
It's $9.95 with about 350 pages, listing some 600 or 700 stores, restaurants, activities, hotels, and so what I like to say is it pays for itself the first time you use it.
Actually, that's true. Can I go to the New England Mobile Book Fair and get it cheaper than that?
And get 20% off.
Oh, is that right?
You got a whole stack of them over there right by the door.
Yeah, okay. Carolyn in Medfield. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi. Can you give me the address for the Arts Mail catalog?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's got it right here. Right to Arts Boston, which is the nonprofit organization. 100 Boylston Street, Suite 735, Boston, Mass. 02116.
Okay, and I plan to buy your book. I'll go looking for it tomorrow.
Okay, it's called. It's a blue cover, so you'll spot it right off. Mr. Cheap's Boston is the one that you'd want, obviously, for this area.
Right up my alley.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Carol.
Good night.
Bye-bye. 254-1030, area code 617 if you have any questions. Here's Chip in Cambridge. Hi, Chip.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Chip.
2 questions. I know that you go to the city that you're working on.
Yes.
How, and I think I heard you once say that you spent like 6 weeks in the city before, after you've done all the preliminary research. Is that true?
You've heard my other interviews, yes.
No, you told me.
Oh, is this Chip that I know from?
Yeah.
Hi, Chip. How you doing?
Hi.
I know this guy, Norm. He's a ringer. He's a ringer.
You're not supposed to tell him. No, but seriously.
I
spent
spend
about 6 weeks.
Basically, the way it divvies up is there's me and there are 2 assistants.
Yeah.
Is Chip one of the assistants?
No, he's not.
Okay.
No, but
Chip is a friend of he and I have a mutual friend. Basically, what happens is I will go to whatever city for about a month to 6 weeks, and also one of my assistants will go to the city for about the same length of time. And during that entire time, the third person, the other assistant, is doing a whole batch of work on the telephone, sort of backing us up. So when you throw it all together, it's 3 people going nonstop, all out, sometimes 7 days a week. For a period of about 2 months, and that seems to do the trick.
Yeah, you can get a pretty good beat on the city. And the other thing is, I
had a wonderful compliment. I know when I've done my job well, when people tell me that they live in those cities, and I found places that they didn't even know.
Yeah.
I have a book in Chicago, which has done very, very well, and I was interviewed by a writer from the Chicago Tribune, a fashion writer for the Chicago Tribune, and she told me I had found a clothing discount store that she didn't know about.
Yeah.
That's when I know I've done my job.
That's great. My other question is, I've got 2 more, but I'll talk to you some other time.
Okay.
When will there be a Mr. Cheap's Guide to Paris?
Oh, boy.
And to whom should I speak at your publisher to make sure that you're sent there?
Wow, as soon as they send me, boy.
And can I be one of your assistants?
Absolutely. I don't know if there is anything cheap in Paris. Everybody, I've never been there. Everything I hear about it is...
Actually, there is, and I'd love to see you do it.
Mostly the people.
No.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
No, I said that. And, I find Parisians are very hard to get along with, but then again, I haven't been to Paris in about 20 years, so it may have all changed.
Once again, an excellent foray into the world of the Norm Nathan Show. Links are in the bio to support said show. My cup was recently filled to the brim on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you. Closing the vault and leaving this world a little sillier than we found it. 4. Singing a medley of songs while having technical difficulties. Weight loss and looking good. Amorous rapture. Anticipating the invention of radio, but being on the radio. Minnesota Fats. Pool and billiards and balls and rules. Beer, lager, ale, microbreweries. Being sneaky, but looking like you belong. The cat's meow. Paying your bills, reading Charles Kuralt. Dissing stodgy Boxford, Mass. Frankie Max, Beachmont in Revere, Massachusetts. Freddie Ross, Spotlighters, Norm Crosby, James Michael Curley, The Black Rose, Norm's native language, Chagra. Stories that make you shake and sweat. Starving Artists, Boss Ticks, Arts Mail and Arts Boston, Sensible Shoes, shopping carefully at your local outlet stores. The late lamented Worcester Common Fashion Outlets. Factory Refurbs, Leechmere, Greg Smith, Scott J. Kerman, Mr. Cheap Mark Waldstein, the quiet, reflective loudmouth Lovell Dyett, Marilyn Gorelnik, Ed LeClaire, and the man who was riddled with regret, Norm Nathan. I'm the slightly pockmarked Tony Nesbitt.
A lot of the lines are open right now, so if you'd care to call, we'd love to talk with you at 617, which is, of course, the erotic area code to Boston. Let me say that again, as long as the kids are not up and listening.